Welcome to a video tutorial on changes in the Middle Ages. So, a brief introduction. By now, you should have very clear that some things were happening during the Middle Ages. The church suffered a lot of corruption. Okay, you should have your notebooks open at this point so that you can look up terms that you don't remember in order to help you to revise. You should pause the video now and try and think of in what ways the church was corrupt. Hopefully you've thought of the words simony and nepotism. If you haven't or you don't know what they mean, look them up in your notebook now. So, the church had become quite corrupt, especially in these two ways, but in other ways, priests getting married, the use of excommunication or interdict by popes for incorrect reasons, etc. But eventually the church starts to reform itself. It also starts the Crusades. You should know what a crusade is and remember some details about the Crusades if you don't go back and look through your notebooks before continuing with the video. So while these two things are happening in the period of time 1000 to 1300 AD, the church is reforming itself and the Crusades are taking place, there are other changes related to the economy, trade, and agriculture. In this video, I'm going to focus on the changes that took place regarding agriculture. What I really want to underline and emphasize is the fact that many things are happening at the same time in the same place. And so it's impossible for me to teach you all of the things at the same time. Therefore, I have to break them into sections, but I need you to realize that they are happening simultaneously. So while the Crusades are taking place, these changes between 1000 and 1300 are taking place related to the economy, trade, and agriculture that affects the people directly. Before I go into detail about the changes that took place in agriculture, you need to know why the changes started to happen. And the reasons are the following. Well, as you can see in this picture, or perhaps you can deduce, the climate changed. The climate got warmer, firstly. And this facilitated the growing of crops in places that have been too cold before. What's the consequence of this? Logically, there's more food. But it also means there's more land to cultivate. So, changes are necessary regarding agriculture. And so there are three main changes or methods used in agriculture. They stop using oxen to plough fields and started using horses because the horsepower was much more efficient than the oxen power. They could plough 3 times as much land in one day as a group of oxen. But there was a problem. Before they could use the horses, they needed a new piece of equipment in order to be able to attach the horse to the plough. And this equipment is the harness. So a new piece of equipment called a harness was invented that could fit around the horse, which allowed it to be attached to a plough and therefore plough more land. Finally, the last development was called the three-field system. Instead of doing what they had previously done, which was dividing a field into 2 parts only, one growing crops and one being left fallow without growing crops, they divided it into 3. This way they can grow crops in the first part, in the second part, and leave the third part to rest, and then rotate. The advantage of this is that the soil is given time to rest and recuperate and for nutrients to reappear in the soil. And obviously it means they can grow more food or more crops as well. So what were the consequences of these three developments? Stop now and try and recall the three main developments. 1. Stop using ox, start using horses. 2. They invent a harness to fit the horse so the horses can be used to pull the plough. And 3. They switch from the 2-field system to 3-field system. 2 fields are used to grow crops and 1 is left fallow. What are the consequences? Well, if you are able to cultivate more land because you can grow crops in new places due to the climate change, and you can also cultivate more crops more quickly because you're now using horses, you're going to have more food. If you have more food, more people are fed. And if more people are fed, they're usually healthier. If more people are healthier, less people die. If less people die, the population increases. If the population increases, towns are going to grow. And some of the negative effects. If the towns are growing, but the population is growing faster, the towns might become overpopulated. Now, this is the revision of the lesson. Look quickly at the pictures. They go in this order, and try and retell the story that I've just told you, how each thing is connected and related. Okay, and if you don't remember or can't figure it out, go back, listen to the lesson again and try again. I hope you've learned something new. Thank you for listening.